I tell you, they say when you get old, things start going.
Look here.
Okay. I'm just trying to help you out. I ain't
No,
made it to that. Yeah.
we back on Petty Sunday again, huh?
No, I'm just stating the
The what?
obvious.
The
I won't
the
I won't
oh,
say
is
the
a
facts.
you gonna say you just stating the obvious? The
Yeah.
obvious, the facts. What's the difference?
Uh, I don't know. You're not old. You're not that old. You're not that old.
Really?
Yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of Her Love and His Peace. I am, of course, the spoiler,
And I'm yummy.
and we are the Boomer X generation, talking about love, life, and relationships in the modern times. And we also complain about everything because we can. Queen Patty here. Yummy.
Really.
I have a lot of friends who are very either disenchanted or very worried or upset about the world and the way it's kind of going and the way things are and the way people are. They've vented to me about certain things that they see, and it makes them worry about the future ahead for their kids, grandkids, and whatnot. And I see the same things. So it's not a question that they're wrong. I'm not saying that they're wrong. They see exactly what they see and they are right on point.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is this. I don't think it's a matter of how fucked up the world is, because it is. There's a lot of things that are fucked up about the world. But really, it's a matter of their perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is at the end of the day, these people are, and I mean that in a general sense, are are just as chaotic as they were since I've been home.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
Has things elevated? Only, and I think the elevation in the chaos is only due to our access to information quicker and
Mm-hmm.
longer. We get it news 24/7. Where
Mm-hmm.
back when I was a kid, after 10:30, that was a wrap. you know.
Yeah.
So now you have 24-hour news and you've got instant access media wise, with social media and everything, to just about everything that's happening. It elevates the level of making the world seem more chaotic than it was in the past, when I really don't think that was the case, because these people is just as fucked up as they were back then.
You're
you
right.
know So
Right.
even for these people that think they want to live in 1906 with 1906 laws and rules and this, that, and the other, these motherfuckers didn't even live back then. So how you
Right.
figure you want to go back there?
Right.
You know.
Right.
So I think that it's more of that their perspective. And like I said, I'll reiterate, I'm not saying that they're wrong. People
Mm-hmm.
are fucked up. People are chaotic. The world is really all screwed up by that. But my point is that it's no more fucked up than it has been. When has it been this just peaceful harmony kind of world? It doesn't exist. It didn't exist.
Right.
So it's a matter of their perspective. They have to change their perspective, because the world is not going to get into be a better place. Well, maybe when AI started making these motherfuckers, their robots,
Really? AI? Yeah.
Right.
Right, right.
So that's just me. That's just me. You know, what's your
Yeah.
thoughts?
Well, like you say, the world has been in a messed up state for a long time. Like back in the day, like you say, when we were kids, you had, well, because you're a little older than me, but like when I was growing up, the news came
Mhm.
on at 11. So you got the 11 o'clock news. And after that, that was it. You only got kind of the news that was surrounding cities. But then they came out with the world news and CNN running all day long. And you have people that sit and watch that stuff all. It's depressing to me. I don't even watch the well, they start changing the news because you start getting news in the morning, which was good when you had school because then you knew if school was closed in the snow. But after that, it's like then you start getting 12 o'clock news. Then you got the 5 o'clock news, the 6 o'clock news, the 7 o'clock. It's like, okay, this is too much news and it's depressing. Has it always been bad? Yeah, it's always been bad. It's just gotten worse. And a lot of it, like you say, you didn't really know all of that was going on because your local news was your local news. They wasn't giving you, they may give you some news from the little suburb areas around you, but you didn't get the world news. And now you get news from everywhere. I don't want to know what's going on in Japan. I don't live in Japan. I'm not finna go to Japan. So why do I want to know what's going on over there? I don't. So it's like, I'd say you gotta live each day one day at a time. You can't you can't go by what the news is telling you and live your life because you'll go crazy keeping up with the news. You just gotta take one day at a time, adapt to what's going on.
Well, I think too that they have a hard time, and I get it. You worry about they're worried about the future for the kids,
I understand
and
that.
I wholeheartedly get it. You know,
Hmm.
some of them are getting older, and I truly believe a lot of this shit, especially that you can't control, you have to let it go. That doesn't mean that you can't have a critical thought about what's going on. And
True.
there's some things you can impact, some things you can't impact. You worry about truly those things in the input of what you are giving your child versus what they're going to get out here. After that, it's kind of a crapshoot, you know. It is, you know, and a lot of it you have no control of. You have no control when the kid goes outside the door in the house and living their life and doing other things. You have no control of it, you know. But the world, the world has always been fucked up. You know, there ain't been this peace and harmony and all this other bullshit they try to sell us that somehow it existed. It has not existed like that. You know, so
Hmm.
like I said, their perspective has to change and stop worrying
Hmm.
about all this shit. It's gonna be whatever it is going to be. That's what it's going to be.
Exactly. And like you started off on that conversation. We have kids. We can train our kids. We can teach them right from wrong, teach them everything we know that's good for them. But once they get older and venture out, we have no more control because we did our part. We've taught them, we provided for them.
Mhm.
But once they get older, we have no control because they start developing their own thoughts, they own and take their own actions. And all you can do is hope for the best for them. Because I could tell my kids, hey, don't go out and rob a bank. But they get it with a different crowd of people and say, hey, let's go rob a bank. At some point they may say, well, my mama told me not to, but that sounds like fun. Let's go do it. I'm just saying that hypothetically. I can't change that because I done already told them don't do it, but then they still choose to do it. That's out of my control. But then they have to deal with the consequences. Yeah, I may still do everything within my power to help them not have to suffer, but they have already made their own choice. That's out of my control. But if they was to go by my teaching, which you can only teach them so much because once they go off to school, they're gonna learn once they get with their little friends. It's always something different. So
This is correct. It's correct.
yeah. Anyway, all we can do
It's,
is hope and pray for the best.
here's a question for you.
Okay.
What problem is marriage meant to solve? Now, before you answer it, I'll give you some background. I'm watching Diary of a CEO, and he's got this attorney on. I think he was a divorce attorney, and he was talking about advising some of his clients regarding prenups. And he talked about divorce and how uh, these guys that have a lot of money, when the next one come in that they're going to marry, and how the situation was not like the last one where it was a big mess and this person different, this, that, and the other. So it's his job to advise them about prenups and what should be in there and how to write them up and all that good stuff. So they were talking about marriage in general, and he posed the question, what problem is marriage designed to solve? And both of them went into the deer in headlights type of syndrome, and when I thought about it, I was like, uh, so the question to you, what problem is marriage designed to solve?
Um, I can see why that would send you in a deer in headlights. Um, what problem? That's a very good question because a lot of people don't have problems before they get married. A lot of times the problems don't come until after marriage. Why is that? I don't have the answer to that either. But what problem? Hmm. What problem is marriage design? Now I could go a little biblical.
Sure. Why
It
don't you?
it's supposed to keep you from fornicating, adultery, and adultery, I should say. The two that I can think of right off the top of my head. But nowadays, marriage don't even keep you from doing that. So I can't I don't have an answer.
My thing is this: there isn't an answer for it, and that's why it's the deer in headlights type of syndrome. Because when you sit back and think about it, there isn't an answer for it because marriage wasn't designed to solve any problem.
No,
Marriage is designed for order.
I can agree with that.
It was designed for order. It was not designed to solve a problem. It was designed to give you order. And with that order is the structure of family,
Okay,
right?
I can see that.
And now this is all my view. So all you keyboard warriors, go into your good books or wherever it is, and it says here in the good books and this, that, and the other, and I'm gonna answer it in taking that road of it, all your good books, right?
Mm-hmm.
The majority of that stuff is man-made. that
Mm.
says it was with divine creation.
Okay.
And I don't care what good book it is. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. See, this is where people always get their shit all mixed up.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a matter of something being right or wrong. What I do is look at origins and
Mm-hmm.
understanding of the world and people.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to your good books, whatever they are,
Correct.
right? When
Correct.
you're talking about origins, they'll all be talking about whoever was divinely inspired to write whatever,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And that may be, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But through the years of divine inspiration, you always got some people in there with some bullshit mixing it up,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So deciphering what is divinely inspired and some bullshit that got cooked up in the mix, that's the task of modern man.
Okay.
Some people, it hurts their brain to think that far into it, and they just take it for face value and they transfer it on to the next generation at
Mm-hmm.
face value.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I'm being long-winded with this because I can. So the the whole problem of it is, and it's not a problem, it's just an
Mm-hmm.
observation,
Okay.
right? It's just an
Right.
observation. And I started to look at this thing from different vantage points of different cultures and their ceremonies and how they proceed in the whole practice of it. And it's
Mm-hmm.
different from one culture to another. Again, not wrong,
Right.
not right. It's just a cultural practice that's made for order in that culture. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether I particularly choose to believe in it, indulge in it, or whatever, that's a whole different question. And like I said, I'm not calling the practice right, wrong, or indifferent, and I'm not dumping on it or anything like that. I'm just looking at it for what it is. And if
Okay.
and if you like it and love it, that's cool. But where I have the problem of it is that when you try to tell me that this is the way I'm supposed to approach it, and I'm telling you, no, I don't feel that.
Okay.
Just leave me alone. I leave you alone. I don't feel that.
Right.
And you still are pressing, saying that I'm wrong about that. No, I'm not wrong about anything.
Mm-hmm.
know, that's where I get riled up at. But on the surface and things like that, no, I don't care about it. But the gentleman posed the question. That's how we got here, and I was like, you can't answer that question because it's not something that is a problem that was meant to be solved in some kind of way.
All right.
You know, that makes sense to you?
It does. It does. Because like I said, you don't have a problem before marriage because if you have a problem before marriage, then why are you getting married? So most problems don't arise until after marriage, but then there's some marriages you don't even have to have a problem. It just works well. You just blend like that
Mm-hmm.
where,
Hmm. Well, and those whole things of becoming one and having family structure and having the order design so that the family is well cared for and
mhm.
to to give the parties involved guidelines and this, that, and the other. Like I said, I get it. I
Mm-hmm.
definitely get it. But I do have to acknowledge the fact that a lot of that was cooked up by man who they say are inspired
Mm-hmm.
divinely.
Mm-hmm.
So then I go to the question, so I'm not divinely inspired?
Are you asking me, are you divinely inspired?
Well, I know the answer to that.
Oh, okay. So I don't need the answer then.
Sure, give him the answer. I'm
No,
sure.
you already got the answer, so there's no need for me to answer.
No, but it's all opinion based anyway. So I
It
can
is.
say that the writers of all those good books, right, weren't
Right.
divinely inspired. They're just some regular motherfuckers who wanted to try to manipulate human beings.
Could be. I
Yeah,
get what you're
I'm
saying.
just saying.
I,
Right.
I get what you're saying.
Right.
I do. I
So am I divinely inspired?
Are you?
I don't know what's your opinion.
I believe you are. I really do.
Uh-huh.
I do.
Hmm.
All jokes and pettiness aside, I really do.
Uh-huh. I believe you are too.
Yeah. But
Hmm.
then, in the words of Big Frida, you already know. So, okay.
Nice. Nice.
Okay. But how do you feel about people that in the store on speakerphone or people that call you and have you on speakerphone when there's others around? How does that make you feel without acknowledging the fact that, hey, I got you on speakerphone?
Most of the people I've been on speakerphone with will say, "Hey, I got you on speakerphone. Is that okay?" And I don't have a problem with being on speakerphone as long as I know. And we're not talking about nothing that's nothing. Or if that person, I know that person's in the office or in a place where that conversation is right there, being on speakerphone, that don't bother me.
Okay.
Rarely have I been on speakerphone and have not known it. Um, I can't think of anything. Usually, the people I know who use the speakerphone thing are pretty astucious about telling you that. Now, the thing I don't like is where not just on speakerphone, but in general, everybody thinks they can multitask very well. But you got all this hammering, clinging, and clanging the pots, yelling at the kids, talking to other people while you did. Okay, now you're doing too much. That's way too much on the goddamn phone, right? I'll call you back. You're doing because it's making me cloudy with my conversation, especially if it's a halfway serious conversation. So that part of it bothers me. I've seen people observe people come in the stores and will be having a whole blown conversation on speakerphone. One, I don't want to listen to your bullshit conversation. I don't give a fuck if you're talking in another language and knowing nobody can interpret what you're saying. So you
Mm-hmm.
think, right?
Right.
I just don't want to hear your conversation. I think it's kind of rude, especially when you're like at the cashier and this motherfucker's yapping on speakerphone and trying to do a business transaction. I just think that's just, you know, rude, just straight out rude, you know.
I I
Um,
agree.
and it comes with the technology of cell phones and you know not growing up with phone etiquette, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So with the advent of cell phones, we've lost our phone etiquette,
We have. We have.
so and people are very distracted with it, especially these people that think they can. These motherfuckers can't even walk and chew bubble gum, let alone drive a car and text, or drive a car and have a phone in their hand and have a conversation, even though they think they're the great multitaskers.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
But
these
yeah,
are the worst drivers on the road.
that's because they're not multitasking. They're trying to do too many things at one time. It's like pick one thing. Either you're gonna talk on the phone, that means you should pull over and stop talking on the phone. Or you should go ahead and drive. And that's, and I get it now that they have the hands free. Okay, your hands is free, but sometimes some conversations get to where you get deep in thought and you more focused on this conversation because it's one of those conversations that just kind of take your thoughts away because you're trying to answer what somebody's saying to you and you're just like, okay, I'm driving. And I think that's how a lot of people run stop signs, run lights, because and that may not always be true, but they're speaking, not saying that they're holding the phone or on the phone, but you can be talking through the car or you could be talking through an earpiece. And it's still that you can be asking me something. I got to think of the answer, and my mind is on trying to answer you and not focusing. So I think, yeah, and just like they have the law, they say a hands-free law, but it's like how many police officers you see riding down the street with their phone? It's like, okay, so you think you want to pull me over and give me a ticket for my phone, but you doing the same thing. I feel they should lead by example.
Well,
But
your
that's just my opinion.
your hands may be free, but your brain ain't free,
Exactly. Exactly. I agree with you on that.
right? So, and and it doesn't matter who they are or what capacity that they're in. The general the general thought is the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're doing too many fucking things at one time, and you think
Mm-hmm.
they've sold everybody on being these great multitaskers. And here in the U.S., they're horrible at it. You know,
Yeah, they are.
they're absolutely horrible at it. And to be a great multitasker, it's usually down to a skill set of doing very specific tasks in very specific sequence.
Mm-hmm.
So the faster that you become at the sequence of whatever that task is,
Mm-hmm.
the more seamless it becomes,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the real general idea of multitasking. And it's a sequence of steps that you get faster and faster at, right?
Gotcha.
Not this thing that we got here and the motherfucker can't even get a damn drive-through order right, because they doing too many things and they're not
Right.
trained. And that sequence of steps that you're doing for whatever task, right? Those people have been trained and trained and grained and grained. So yeah, it seems like a seamless step, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But all these other people, you're trash at it, right? And with the
Right.
advent of cell phones and whatnot, it's just elevated our level of being distracted. So no matter who's in the car or whatever capacity they're working in, if they're sitting there
Mm-hmm.
holding a phone and trying to hold a conversation and drive at the same time, it's all a bad situation. Now
Mm-hmm.
people do it because oh, I've been doing it 20 years. I ain't never had an accident. You haven't had an accident yet.
Yet. Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
you haven't had one yet. And that's
Exactly.
all it is. So now that the phone etiquette thing is a a thing, like I said, we didn't grow up with. So
No,
now
we
there
didn't.
is no etiquette. with it.
Correct.
And that's why you
Correct.
see all this nonsense with it, you know.
Yeah. And so, back to the original thing at hand. I don't have a problem with being on speakerphone, but like the comedian Josh Johnson said, that should be my last name. He
Ha!
said
I
he
thought you would
like
get a kick out of that.
I did. He's like, if you go put me on speakerphone, you should be like, hey, Yummy, got you on speakerphone. Speakerphone should be my last name. Let me
I get
know
it.
that I'm on speakerphone
I get it.
and we can
That was
talk.
pretty funny.
It was because he had me and you have some people that, for example, like his example was, it was a mom and daughter talking, and she talking about her husband, and he right there in the car. It's like, that was kind of messed up, but who's to say it happens? You don't know when you think you just talking to one individual and you don't know. Just say, for example, me, I can call my sister on speakerphone, or I can call her. She put me on speakerphone. She may be with my mom. I may want to say, hey, do you know what mom did? And she's sitting right there,
Right,
and it's like, that's kind of messed up. You could have told me she was
right.
right there, you know. And not to say that's never happened. It may have happened. I don't know, but
Yeah.
you
And
I
a lot of times you can kind of hear if you're on speakerphone just
you
by
can.
their voice, but it could happen to anybody. They could be on speakerphone and not know, you
Well,
know.
that's like his example. They was in the car. So mostly every time you answer, you cuz like for me, I could call my sister. I know she may be in the car and I say, "Who all in the car with you?" Before I even start talking cuz I know I'm talking to her through her car system.
Hmm.
And I'm like, "Who all in the car with you?" And then she'll tell me. I'm like, "Oh, hey everybody." And then my conversation may detour because I'm only wanting to call and talk to my sister about something that I'm not talking about the people that's in the car, but hey, this is a sister to sister type of thing. You know,
Sure.
she could have her kids in there, she could have other people in there. It doesn't matter. But when I'm just calling to talk to my sister or ask my sister something, I don't want everybody in the car to hear. So,
Right.
because me,
And
I don't be talking about people.
yeah. Well, at any rate, the people I know usually will say, "Hey, uh, I got you on speakerphone. Is that?" And they'll ask if that's okay. No.
You didn't comment, so you say I be talking about people? Now,
So yeah, the speakerphone type of situation. It just,
okay, I see you.
yeah.
I see you. I feel you. I'm feeling you. Okay, I got
Hmm. Right, right. That.
you. See, I don't know what it is with you being petty, but that's okay. Because my cousin, she started off petty this morning. Soon as I got to church, the first thing she hit me with petty. I'm like, for real? We just got to church. We just had got to church, and she started off. I'm like, for real? You see what I
What
have to go?
was she being petty about something in church, or was she being petty about something you were doing?
What make you wait a minute? What make you think I was doing something?
I think that was a direct question. That
What
was a
make you
that was a in church person petty, or something you were doing me petty.
I don't know. I'm not I plead the
That's
fifth.
either a left or right, or one
I
or
plead the
two,
fifth.
A
Take
and a B.
C. I'm going with C.
Yeah, I figured you would. Petty Sunday is back. We have a return, and I'm so glad we have a return of classic hip hop. And I know you sheltered people you know,
On jabs
don't
left and
don't
right.
don't may not have gotten classic a lot of classic hip hop, in your small towns. And y'all was busy in church while we was hip hopping, I so I understand it. I get it, right? You were bopping on a different frequency, back then, you know. But you still are part of the Gen Xer resurgence of classic hip hop. Recently, Kwame and Slick Rick and a number of other people have released new music, right? With the now, what I like about it is that they get to now put videos out and shorts out to go along with the music and to give you that visual feel of the
Excuse me.
song and whatnot. And so I am absolutely ecstatic that these guys now get to show the visuals along with their music. And I hope that they do a video for every song, because social media now is like that, where you don't need a big production crew and stuff to have a video with a song. And I think a lot of them are really good works because song and videos, they go along together with each other. So I'm glad for the resurgence of Kwame, Slick Rick, LL had an album out last year. Some of these guys who are in the Gen X space, 50 plus, are reemerging in music. But there was a question that was asked about why did some of these folks, stop doing music? And the one pure answer that I heard was classic. It said because the money fell out of it.
It
There wasn't
makes
no more
sense.
money in it. With streaming and stuff, there wasn't no more
Exactly.
money in it.
It's
So
not.
they moved on to other things, other projects, film, and stuff like that. So the money
Right.
fell out of it. But I'm glad some of the older artists are now back into it. Money or not, it's still good to hear them that they still got that fire and that drive.
Now, just because I may have been bopping to a different tune or a PK kid, I still knew who Slick Rick was.
Oh, I get it. I get it. There
And
you
I
go.
think
Give
I
yourself a
think
round of applause. Yeah, dig it.
for real. And I think I knew some of Kwame old music because you
Sure.
gotta remember, even though we was bopping to uh Clay Evans and
Mhm.
those type
On
of people
Sunday.
back then
Right.
on Sunday. Well,
Right.
no, cause we listen to them during the week.
Where I'm from, you don't play them blues on Sunday.
No, you don't.
You know,
But the house I grew up in, you didn't play the blues at all. It's like, no, we not having it. We not having. There was no, growing up, we couldn't even play Monopoly for a while until until he came around. It was like, come on, man. But because Monopoly had dice, it was no, no, you're not doing that. Not doing that.
right.
So, but
I
anyway,
get it.
I knew about hip hop,
Okay. I'm just saying,
because when BET came about, we was able to watch videos, VH1, and what was that other one on BET? They whatever the videos, I can't remember now. I must be getting catching up with you in age, but
and you saying I'm forgetting shit. And you younger than me.
that I am.
So where does that put you?
Well, you know, they say when you start hanging around people, you start acting like them. So, when I hang around you, so I start getting forgetful too. Watching TV, they have this commercial. And I think for me, the commercial is kind of dull. Okay, let me set the whole scenario. It's two parents sitting down, and you got, I don't know what they go end goal is. I'm guessing it's for the kids to come together and play, or for one kid to go over another kid's house. They don't really get into it. All they get to it is, do you have any animals? One parent asks, the other parent answer, yeah, I got a little dog. And then it was, do you have any guns in your house? Yes, but they're locked up and secure. Oh, okay, well, thank you. I'm like, okay, to me, to better that commercial, it would be like, my son Sam would like to come and play with Robert, but I need to ask you a few questions. Do you have any animals in your house? Yes, I have a dog. Okay, I would like to also ask you, do you have any guns in your house? Yes, they are locked up in a secure place away from the children. Thank you very much. So can set up a date for Robert and Sam to have a play date? That's how I think the commercial should go instead of you just asking, "Oh, you got any dogs? Or you got any animals?" Yeah, I got a guinea pig. But no.
Well,
So,
I've seen the commercial, and there's
mm-hmm,
a couple different versions of the same commercial.
mm-hmm.
That what you just described is what the end goal point of the commercial.
That's what I
How
thought.
they right, how they kind of went about it. I'm indifferent on it on a couple things. Yeah, it should have went more full blown into, you know, why they were asking those questions. And that's where you're saying the commercial didn't necessarily fill in that background. They just kind of was at this table asking about this. So they left it to your imagination that okay, the one kid is going to go over another kid's house.
Right.
Um, so I get your point there.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of indifferent about the commercial too. About it's kind of a corny way to start a conversation about do you have firearms in the house.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to jam them because conversations have to start somewhere.
They do.
With this country the way it is in the rate of firearm deaths, both accidentally and purpose,
Exactly.
are definitely way too high.
Yeah.
And no, I'm not an anti firearm person. I am a pro firearm person. But just because I'm pro firearms, don't mean that I take a side of one side or the other beating a flag because I'm never that. I'm always my own independent thinker about
Right.
any given topic.
Right.
So when you warriors getting the keyboards getting down on there and don't call me one side or the other
Right.
because I am a pro gun person. I think a conversation has to be had around not only parents talking about being making sure that they're safe with firearms and children around the house because there's too many accidental deaths for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
um, Responsible gun ownership should be part of another conversation, but a bigger part of all the conversation should be mental health and stability. And I think
Exactly.
a lot that's where a lot of everything is being missed in the whole conversation because one person is worried about banning shit and the other person is worried about their shit getting banned. So you get
Mm.
those two spectrums that are so far out of reach and out of touch with each other. All this shit in the middle that I just mentioned with the mental health, responsible ownership, and the
Mm-hmm.
conversations you know um, about firearms gets thrown out the window because one side or the other is being extreme about their fucking views and their rights being trampled on and all this other stuff. So um, So neither side don't come at me with that bullshit. If
Well,
you ain't talking about what's in the middle, you keep all that other shit to yourselves.
and my opinion is you do have the two sides where one is for guns, one is against guns. But if you think about it, to me, the middle is everybody should be against gun violence because nobody wants you just using it, you know, just free willy out here. But there's uh there's some underlying issues that comes with all this violence. Sometimes it does, sometimes it does. Sometimes we do we have a lot of senseless shootings? Yeah, you do. And do you have a lot of mistakes because of the some neglect of not locking it up or whatever? Okay. But it's still like you said, there's a deeper issue into it than just, oh well, let's just get rid of them. No. But everybody has their own opinion about that. And like you say, you don't really want all these keyboard warriors coming at you for your opinion, your thought process, and we're not going after nobody else for how they feel about it. So it's like, it's just a conversation. It's not a
Well,
debate here, it's just a conversation.
and that's where the the commercial and approaching the conversation, I think, is a step in the right direction.
Exactly.
And because you have the access to media, search as is community, search as such as the commercial and whatnot, I think you need to amplify the volume
Hmm.
of what you're talking about and having the conversation without the fucking debate on the left or right.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
whereas now it's the opposite. You have the debate of the left and the right
Hmm.
overpowering the actual facts of conversation behind mental health, responsible ownership, and things of that nature.
Right.
You know, so I think it's a step in the right direction. You
Yeah.
know,
And like I said, the conversation it could have I just felt they could have added a little bit more to it because when you assume you do know kind of what their end goal was the fact that
mm-hmm.
you had one kid finna go visit another kid. And I didn't see nothing wrong with the fact that, hey, I would, if I had smaller kids, I would probably ask the same question. Hey, you got animals? You got any unlocked firearms or whatever? Are they put up when the kids are around playing?
How do
Okay,
you see AI?
it's taking over.
How do you feel about that?
I can't stop it. That's just um could it be good? Yeah. Can it be used for good? Yeah. Can it how do I really feel about AI? If you think about it, it's already been around forever. I think now it's just being magnified even more because, and the reason why I say that, because when you watch movies,
Mm-hmm.
and these are like old movies even before you heard of AI. For example, The Matrix. The Matrix been off forever. They talked about artificial intelligence back then, but everybody just looked at it as, oh, that's a pretty cool movie. I don't know if people really paid attention because I'm gonna be honest, I never really paid attention to it until you suggested watch The Matrix, and I watched it again to realize what they were trying to show you in The Matrix. But at this point right now, I could say I don't have any feelings for AI one way or the other.
Well, a lot of people. It it's funny to me is that the original robots. is worried about a robot taking over,
Right.
right?
Right.
Because why else were humans born? They are the original robots,
They are.
right? And they're worried about artificial intelligence and the robots taking over. By and said Guru, he said, so that means you go on vacation. What's your problem? You ain't gotta worry about all this. You go on vacation. What are you so scared of?
Yeah.
Right? I I don't freak out over it. You know, AI is the wave of the future. Now, the question will be you mentioned the Matrix. In that setting, it was artificial intelligence and man and his ego, right,
Right.
fighting against the artificial intelligence and starting the war. I'll show them, right?
Yeah.
So will this now end up like a matrix type of situation where we know how human egos are and so fucking fragile, especially nowadays? I'll show these damn robots. And remember, it was the humans that torched the sky, thinking that the robots needed the sun for energy. You see what I'm saying?
I
So
see what you're saying.
will this? That's kind of the matrix scenario that they're talking about here,
Hmm.
uh, and now we were talking about music. Timberland, the producer Timberland, is signing artists that are created in artificial intelligence, right? And I
Wow.
remember
Yeah.
I played you the song.
Yeah.
And what'd you think
Yeah.
about? What'd you say about what was your first reaction to the song?
I thought that was a very nice song. I'm like, oh, okay, I mean, it was a touching, it was nice. I would have never thought. I thought that was an actual person singing because you sent me a video to watch. And so
Mm-hmm.
it was a, it was real. It was just like the normal videos you see until you showed me and said, no, that's AI. Like,
Mm-hmm.
no, it's not. I mean, I could have literally sat there and went back and forth with you and like, no, no, it's not. That ain't AI. That's a person because it was so real. I mean, the music, the vocals, it was all just like like an old video you could pull up of Brandy right now and you see her singing it. The only difference was the person didn't move in the video. They just kind of sat there and sung. The background sceneries changed, but the person never, it was no movement of the person. But because of the type of song was, it was kind of like a love song. So I didn't expect no movement of this person. So it would really look real, real to me. I wouldn't have never thought.
So and there's artists that are speaking out against this. They don't like it. They are totally against it. But Timberland's like, no, this is the future, and we're rolling with it. I'm signing these artists, and there's a human being behind that artist and the creation of that AI figure, voice, and everything else. But it's still
Hmm.
AI doing its thing. But now
Hmm.
in a short time period, because I'm not going to say within 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, or whatever. I don't have a crystal ball like that. And I don't want to play like I'm some expert in the field. I'm watching this thing as everybody else is watching this thing.
Exactly.
But there will come a time where the kids coming up now won't know the difference between a singing artist or AI. a regular human artist and AI. In a short period, you're not going to be, by watching this, you're not going to be able to tell the difference between the two by listening or seeing it on the
No,
screen. So there's
no.
going to come a time where you get synchronicity between the two.
And the funny thing is, it had a name, and all you would think is, oh, that's a new artist. You would never think that it's AI. Because,
Mhm.
like I say, I read the name, and like, oh, okay, she knew. I listened to the song, it brought a little tear to my eye because it was a beautiful love song. I was like, oh, that's nice. The words was really nice. The music was nice and mellow, and it was like,
Mhm.
oh. And I'm sitting there because you playing it for me. I'm sitting there and I'm like, that's nice. I'm like, okay. Thinking, oh man, I'm gonna have to look and see if, she has some more music out there. Not knowing I'm listening to a robot. A robot.
Artificial intelligence.
A robot.
Well, and
You played me.
aha! I didn't play you, they played you. I told you the truth. It's like the
Yeah,
red pill and the blue pill.
you
All I'm
told me
offering
this.
you is the truth. That nothing more. All I'm offering you is the truth.
But I get it because you showed it to me and you wanted my authentic reaction compared
Mm-hmm.
to telling me, because you could have told me in the beginning, oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's AI. And I would have been like, okay. And I would have watched it and I wouldn't have thought nothing of it. But because you didn't tell me in the beginning that it was AI,
Right.
and here I'm watching it and I'm really thinking that,
And I could have
oh,
gassed it up and said, "Oh, this is the hottest track around. It's a new group. It's hot. Check it out." I could have gassed it up too, and I
well,
didn't do that. I was just like, "Here, check this out."
since I'm gonna be a little authentic or transparent is the word. I'm be a little
Mm-hmm.
transparent, which when you told me, hey, I got a song I want you to hear. And I started listening to it, I'm like, oh, he playing me a love song. And, oh, not knowing you were being a wolf in sheep clothing. You tricked me.
I didn't trick you.
I'm thinking you was playing me some love song and it was AI.
I did. I did play you some love song. It just happened to be AI.
Really? You wasn't thinking about the song. You just wanted to show me that the fact of AI is making music now.
But you got emotional about it, which meant that again, home run is a home run.
Really?
I take a W wherever I go. That's a W all the way around. I'm
Really?
winning. I'm winning.
You winning because I
I'm
was
winning.
I
That's
was
all that
all
matters.
emotional and
There you go.
oh, first
There
thing
you
in the
go.
morning I'm getting this
All
love
right.
song and it was
That's what's
just to
up.
prove to me it was AI.
Right.
Well,
I'm winning. I'm winning.
you are winning.
There
I
you
give
go.
you that. You are.
Mm-hmm. I'm winning.
Because
That's it.
yeah, you are winning.
No.
I
Mhm.
can appreciate that.
Where else would you get that kind of treatment that early in the morning?
Not at Motel 6. Okay.
Aha! Aha!
Where they leave the light on for you? Okay.
Right.
I don't be trying to be petty. I, it's AI did it. I would like to say to my viewers, our viewers, we appreciate all the likes, the comments, shares, and the subscriptions. Please leave us a comment. We would love to chat with you. No negativity, just positivity, because we are just here sharing our opinions. He's my love. I'm his peace.